Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining PHCA for today's webinar, Talent, Engagement, and Retention. I'm Wendy Johnson with the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association. Before we begin, I have a few housekeeping items to cover. PHCA offers monthly webinars to members to receive updates from department staff on regulations, learn from industry experts on current trends and practices, and to gain a better understanding of practical application tools to equip you so that you may continue to provide the highest level of quality care possible. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available on the PHCA website later today. The webinar has been approved for 1 continuing education credit for PHCA members. Credits will be uploaded to NAB within the next 2 weeks for those who have provided us with your unique NAB number. I'll be sending a link to a quick survey following today's webinar. Your feedback is important to us and our speaker, so please take a moment to complete the survey. All attendees will be in listen-only mode. However, throughout the presentation, please feel free to submit questions using your questions pane on the right hand of your screen, and our presenter will address them at the end of the presentation. Now for today's webinar. This webinar is being presented by Heather Jennings, Regional Sales Executive with IntelyCare, an intelligent workforce management solution for post-acute healthcare facilities. Today's webinar will help you to gain a better understanding of what talent engagement means to your organization and how to maximize workforce solutions. I'll now turn the webinar over to Heather. Heather, are you ready? Oh, it appears that Heather's lost audio, so give us a moment. All right, Heather's going to try to log back in again and reconnect to the audio. Thank you for your patience as we wait. We will have some other.
I apologize, everyone.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
Okay, Heather, you can go ahead and start the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. I'm excited to talk to you all a little bit about talent engagement and a little bit of retention of some of the tricks that I've picked up over the years. So today I want to talk a little bit just about the 4 steps that I generally follow when it comes to engagement, talk a little bit about the positives and the negatives that can go in with that, and then show you some examples and talk a little bit about examples of what you can do to help with that engagement. So the first step that I want to talk about is the actual application. Sometimes I think we forget that the application is actually the first step of any talent engagement. It allows the interviewee and candidates, as they're applying for jobs, to look at who we are as corporations and facilities that this candidate may be working in. So it's a good idea to make sure that our applications represent who we are. We want to make sure that the application is always easy to find and to navigate. So what I do sometimes on our website is we have pop-ups that will allow different places as they navigate through our website to be able to go ahead and click at any time to apply to a position. And you also want to make sure that it's quick and easy to be filled out as well. Research has shown that as people come to our website and start the actual application process, as candidates start to kind of drop off, it's because the application part online is too long, either in length, maybe too many questions. So to get the candidates in your pipeline, we want to make sure that things are quick and easy to start. And to just give you a quick example of how my particular website looks now, over here on the right where you see the blue and white writing, that is our kind of our header when you come into our website. So it's different drop downs. You can see right there it says for nursing professionals. They can come in and choose that drop down to learn a little bit more about us and the positions that they would be applying for, as well as being able to apply. And then we also make it that much easier. And as you move past the blog there where it says apply, you can go ahead and click that button that will bring you to the application site. And then on the left-hand side is as these nursing professionals do come in and choose the drop down, they're able to see IntelyCare for nurses and CNAs and able to choose apply now.
Heather, I'm sorry, but we're not seeing your screen right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. How about now?
I'm not seeing it. I see the information, the PHCA logo with the name of the let's see, with the name of the webinar today.
Bear with me, folks. I apologize again. It states that I am sharing my screen. How about now?
No, I'm not seeing it. I can bring it up. I can try to bring it up on my screen.
That would be perfect.
Let me pull it up. And then you can just tell me when to advance. Give me a second.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm on the screen right now, which I'm hoping everyone's able to see again. It's just the 2 examples of how I have on my site now, which makes the nurses that we hire easy to come to, easy to find and navigate on your system to be able to apply. So we have two different sections here. On the right-hand side with the blue and white is just our header on our website that is different from our facilities to our nursing professionals. We want to make that separate to make it easy to navigate for everybody. And then we have the apply button right next to the header as well. But the nursing professionals are able to click in their portion of our website, which brings you right to the screen that you'll see right on the left-hand side where it says IntelyCare for nurses and CNAs. They're able to apply right then and there as well. And Wendy, you can go ahead and move over to the next. So on this sample side of the examples that I have here, once our professionals go ahead and click that apply button, they're going to see this screen right here in the blue and white again that says IntelyCare, get started with your application. So some things to think about for some of us who may not have our application process online, we understand that the applications are important, and you still want to keep it very short and sweet, because during the interview process is where you can talk and have those discussions about their background. So you want to just keep it limited to maybe certain information that you need to capture for your organization, and then get into more depth during the interview. So right here, for an example, on our website for professionals, we just ask them to create their account just by capturing their email and a password. And then they're able to go ahead and upload their resume, and then we can have that pre-populated. So when they get into an interview stage, we already have that information and can have a conversation in a flow pattern go based off of that. And Wendy, you can go ahead and move on there. So aside from the application, probably one of the most important aspects of hiring is the actual interview. So there may be different aspects of how you interview in your organization, but generally we would probably start with a phone interview and then move to an in-person interview. And then with that in-person interview, your organization may hold a panel interview. And a couple things with the phone interviews is that we want to set up time that works both for your organization, but also for the candidate. So we have to remember that a lot of times the candidates are already working a full or part-time job. So we need to be a little bit flexible when we're given times, and not just those general times, that we might work typically between 9 and 5. Maybe it will be best to give some options to have a couple hours in the morning and a couple hours in the afternoon allotted just for your phone interviews. And your phone interview, you generally want to just ask the candidate questions that's going to kind of pull out some personality, so that way you can see if there's a culture match that matches your organization, more so diving deep into the resume. And then the in-person interview is generally where you're going to be able to see the candidate. You can talk more about their experiences and how it could reflect to the opportunities that you have in-house. It also gives you the opportunity to show them the space that they might be working in. Remember, we want to make sure that we're engaging all of our candidates, and it does start here in the very beginning versus once someone's already hired. The interview and having them come to you in-house is the first step for us to show who we are and who we want to be and what we're expecting on the candidate side. And then in panel discussions, that can be nerve-wracking for a lot of candidates. So it would be beneficial to share that information during that phone interview stage to let them know that their in-person interview is going to house more than one person, and sharing who those individuals are and just a brief reason as to why. So for example, if it is, a skilled nursing facility and you're going to be meeting the scheduler and the DON, we just kind of want to share that information so that way the candidate can be prepared and be able to prepare questions on their end for the different levels of those that are going to be involved in the interview as well. And Wendy, you can go ahead and move on. What we're looking at here is we're going to touch on is communication. So if we move through the application process and we move through the interview process and we do make a hire, communication is key. I think that's on any level, no matter what position you have within an organization. It's so important to have strong communication from employee to direct supervisor and everyone else that might be involved during their shift. So communication is a lot of different ways. We know we have verbal and nonverbal communication, but how can we further engage all of our folks once they're here? Because the goal is to always retain, and I'm sure that some of you have faced this. It's very hard to retain these days. There's a lot of competition, so we're all trying to figure out what the right metrics are, and generally it will start with inside your organization. So in-person communication. It's easier when you're a smaller organization to be in front of all your employees, no matter if they're brand new or if they've been here for years. But it is nice to have direct supervisors and all the way up to your C-level suite to come down and to meet all of your employees as you can. It just shows the candidate and then the person who was hired that there is more communication within your facility, that it's not just going to be your direct supervisor or your coworkers, that everybody on all levels does care and show appreciation. Another way that you can engage in communication with your candidates and hires is online surveys. So for example, about once a quarter, my organization will send out an online survey and just ask 3 or 4 questions about how we're doing. We want to know different things at different times. So is communication one of the things that we're trying to work on? Is incentives one of the things that we're trying to work on? So we pick a couple different questions and blast those out and just ask everybody to provide their feedback. And we do have an open forum at the end to share additional information for us or some things that they would like us to work on as we move forward. But then we also have a online form that's anonymous that anybody at any time can go ahead and ask a question and have it directed towards somebody. So for example, we could ask a question that's directed to our CEO or directed to our HR managers. So that way we can have that individual answer the questions based off of how they feel and how they see the organization going, and then can offer feedback of, please contact me if you'd like to discuss this one-on-one. Another way to engage with communication with not only with your candidates, but also all of your employees is focus groups. So being a nursing agency, we try to gather feedback from all of our nurses and nursing assistants as often as we can. So we will set up throughout the month different dates and different times and ask people to sign up. It's usually first come, first serve, so we try to keep it small, no more than 10. And we just get their feedback of not only how we're doing internally, but how has their experience been out in the field in the facilities that they're working with. Is there anything that they would like to see different on the facility side that they're working on? Or is there anything that we could be doing different to make sure that their experience is positive and they feel as part of our family here, but also the family members at the facility side? And then also communication is providing positive feedback and constructive feedback. And we also have to be able to take that on both ends. So as much as employers think sometimes old school mentality is that, if you're interviewing for me or you're an employee here for me, I'm going to give you feedback, but we have to allow our candidates and our employees to provide that same feedback. So whether that's one-on-one with a direct manager or setting up a time with their direct supervisor or requesting time with HR, or maybe a director of nursing or a CEO. You want to be able to provide that access to all of your employees as well. And Wendy, we can go ahead and move on. And so recognition and referrals. This is one of the biggest things that I personally have worked on over the years, and that I found has really benefited not only myself and my departments that I worked in, but the organization as a whole. And a lot of times we may think or feel that we have to spend a lot of money in order to engage or retain our employees, and that's not always the case. We can do things throughout the year for each employee to make them feel special. So to give you one example, today, actually, I was visiting a facility and was asking a lot of how they do their engagement. And when you walked in, you saw a tree, and then you saw each individual member that was a part of their team in a picture frame, and it was placed on each branch. And it just says, when you welcome, here's our family, from our family to yours. And that's just a great way to greet your employees as they walk through the door every day to show up for their shift, whether they're full-time or part-time or pool. Just lets them know that they're feeling appreciated and that you want everybody to know who they are as well. Birthdays are a really good way to make that personal connection. If direct supervisors could send a birthday card, or have your CEO send a birthday card as well, really makes people feel special when it's directed towards them for a personal reason. Work anniversaries is another good way to engage your current employees, thanking them for their service, certificates, sending awards, maybe sending up for a lunch or a dinner on the company themselves, just to say thank you for being here and how appreciated they are. Peer nominations. This is a big one that I've noticed over the years and that I've personally incorporated with my team. Is team culture, I think, can make or break an organization. And we want to make sure that everybody is respectful and that everyone can get along. And so I planted a box outside of my office with with cards that you can write a message and nominate a peer. And it could be something as small as, I was having a bad day today, and, Heather came over and saw me sitting and asked how I was doing. I didn't look okay, and just allowed me to talk a little bit. It could be something as small as that, or it could be something as I was really drowning on a project, and, Steven stepped in and really helped guide me and took some extra time away from his project to help on mine. And then everything that you can think of in between. And what I've noticed is that when you involve the peers and providing nominations and feedback that way, it really kind of brings your team together. And so what I would do at the end of every month is pull out all the peer nominations, and then based off of those, we would choose one, and then we would make it known through an email and a newsletter that Heather was nominated as, for peer nomination, and a couple examples as to why, and then provide them with a thank you note, written hand note, and then a lunch on us as well. Promotions. We want to make a big deal of promotions and allowing our employees to know that we want you to grow with our organization. That's one way we can make sure that we retain our folks, is a clear path of, you're coming in today and starting in one position, and we want you to do well in this position, and we want you to know that there is room for growth here. And we want to celebrate that on a couple different levels, of individually from direct supervisor to employee, but also company-wide. We want to make that known of, this person has started here in 2016 as a CNA and went through schooling and is now graduated as an RN and is taking a full-time position or pool position, and we just want to share this. And then what I've done in the past as well is held a luncheon for those who have been promoted in a month or 2 month span. So let's say May and June, we would hold a luncheon in June, and then anyone who was promoted in those times would come to a luncheon, and they would get to invite one or two guests with them, so usually a family member or someone that has supported them through their journey, and just make a big deal of them, making them feel special, thanking them again for their time and how you appreciate them, all of their hard work, and you just want them to enjoy and allow their families or their friends to enjoy in that moment with them. And then above and beyond. Sometimes I think we rely a lot because everyone has such busy schedules of, okay, well, I know when the work anniversary is, I know when the birthday is, promotions, but is someone going above and beyond to whether you're noticing that or you want to kind of get that information from your hiring managers if you're not the direct person that is working with this individual every day of, yes, we all have our job duties, but is Sarah always stepping up for additional projects? Is Sarah always staying later or coming in earlier when you need it? Is Sarah that person that you know you can rely on? So we want to take a look at those individuals that are going above and beyond maybe their core job duties and letting them know that they're appreciated. And once we feel that we are appreciated, we tend to work harder. And if you're comfortable with your organization and are proud of the culture that you work in, you're going to share that feedback again with maybe some coworkers at past employee that you worked with, or maybe with your friends or with your family. And in order to keep retention and to keep all of your hires engaged, you want to ask them for referrals. And on the flip side of that, is your culture or is your organization an organization that your employee is going to want to refer someone to? So we want to look at it from both sides. We want to make sure that we are showing appreciation. We have a strong idea of who we are and who our culture is. And we want to make our employees feel comfortable, not only within their own job security, but that they feel comfortable enough sharing opportunities with their friends and with their families. And then, of course, with recognition, always incentives. Money talks a lot of the time, and it doesn't have to be big. So over the holidays, a $25 gift card to your employees in your department may go a long way. Going above and beyond, it could be somebody of, here's a $25 gift card for gas or for groceries. Little things like that can go a long way. As big as holding holiday parties or summer kickoff barbecues, maybe in your parking lot, and kind of decorating the outside a little bit. You can get creative that way, or taking a group to an evening or a weekend luncheon or dinner as a way of part of the perks of the job. One of the perks that we offer right now to our employees, as an example, are different levels. So starting out at platinum, gold, silver, or bronze. And based off of each of those levels and how your performance is with us, you get different incentives. So you work X amount of shifts and get paid X amount of a bonus, or work X amount of shifts and see only the new clients and their needs, versus if someone tends to run a little late all the time or has called in sick a few times in such a short amount of time, maybe they're not getting those cash bonuses in the beginning, and you want to incentivize your folks to want to get to those different levels. So having different levels is a really good way to incentivize your folks as well. And Wendy, very quickly, but that's all I have for everybody today. I'd be more than happy to open it up to questions or discussion, or kind of pick my brain a little bit and share some other examples.
Great. Thank you, Heather. There was some good information in there, some good ideas. We're opening up the question and answer portion now, so if you do have questions, please type them into the right hand of your screen, and we'll have Heather answer those here momentarily. Just wanted to let you know that there will be other webinars that are coming up. We are scheduling some for the summer, over the summer, so keep your eyes peeled and check the PHCA website because there are new ones being added all the time. And the other thing is we are just about ready to open registration for the PHCA convention, which will be in Valley Forge at the end of September this year, September 24th to the 26th. So we'll be looking to see some of you, hopefully, in person at that conference. We're excited as the program is starting to come together. And we should have, like I said, registration we're hoping to open up in early June. So keep your eyes, keep your eyes open for that, and that will be available shortly along with the session descriptions. So I'm not seeing any questions at the moment, but we'll give it another minute or two. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us through some technical difficulties today. We appreciate your patience, and know that after the webinar is done, I will be getting things ready, and I will send an email to everybody with the information on, the link to the handouts, Heather's contact information, and a recording. So if you know anyone who wasn't able to jump on the webinar today, the webinar is being recorded and will be made available on our YouTube site later today. All right, I don't see any questions. Again, you might get some later as people think of it. I know I always think of something as I'm driving home, and then it's too late. So I will, if you have any questions for Heather, know that I'm sending her contact information. You can get in touch with her at any time. So don't forget to fill out the survey that I'll be sending as well. It's important feedback for us here at PHCA and for Heather as well. And I just want to thank Heather now again for your time and for this information on this topic. We all know workforce is, we think, the thing that's keeping most of you up at night. So we're happy to offer these webinars to you and hope that they're helpful. And we'll continue to look for topics and webinars that are of interest to everyone. So have a great remainder to your day, everybody. Thanks.